Good throw gets Bertram. And that's smashed. Nothing new. Be good if everybody can hear us, huh? What's going on, Coach Madonna? I unmuted you and didn't unmute me, man. That's about my left-handedness on this Sunday afternoon. I hope that you're doing well, man.
We're okay. We're all right. Yeah, had a good church service this morning. Nice message received, and so now we're trying to get everything ready for our trip down to McAllister.
Big game next Friday. Let's talk about last Friday. Bishop Kelley comes to town. A team you felt was winnable as the night progressed. It seemed like just a back and forth. Tell us your thoughts about Friday night.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Bishop Kelley, man. They played a really good football game as we knew, and I'm super proud of our guys. I mean, just 4-quarter battle. That's what we were expecting. That's what we had. You know, it's heartbreaking. It's a little disappointing. Senior night. This is an awesome senior class, and just the dedication and what they've done for Shawnee football, putting us in a position where we're playing meaningful games late in October, November, in consecutive years. And so, you know, it's super disappointing for those guys, heartbreaking, you know, especially when you're right there, man. We're knocking on the door right there in so many of our games, and we just weren't able to get over the hump. And you know, these are, in every loss is a lesson, and you continue to learn these lessons as the season progresses. And you know, we had a good conversation on Saturday morning after our treatment, our team meeting, just about the progression and what these guys have done for us, and kind of the direction we're heading and what's in store. And so, very disappointing loss, but there's so much positivity that's going on to it. And you know, the bigger lesson in this whole deal is we've got some awesome young people that play football at Shawnee High School, and they're growing, they're learning, and they're setting themselves up for success in the future. It just didn't turn out for us on Friday night.
So talk to us. I know that a couple of young men, after tough losses in the past, you know, they've sat there on Friday night just by their locker, and you know, they really had some life-changing moments, and that can happen from tough losses. And there was none tougher than the one that we went through last Friday night. Come Saturday morning, tell us about the guys. Tell us about how they were reacting after such a loss, and you know, what some of their thoughts were.
Well, it's a very emotional game. You know, football is tough. Obviously, I'm biased because this is what I chose as my career path, the sport I played. But you put a lot of time and effort in for one opportunity a week, and when it doesn't go your way and you lose a heartbreaker and you gave everything you have, it's disappointing. You know, it really is. And come in on Saturday morning and those bruises are just a little more painful and those muscles are a little more sore, and you get treatment on it. You watch the film, you realize, you know, where you could have did a little better here and there. And you know, even though there's a lot of disappointment in our guys, that they understand the battle that they're in, and they understand where they're at, and so and and you know, it's a mature group that's really grown over the course of the year. And unfortunately, we've experienced this too many times, you know, as far as this season goes, where we're in a game and we suffer a tough loss. But to have it on the last play like that, it's disappointing. It really is. But you know, they're learning lessons that's going to help them later on in life. Where, you know, they're going to, at some point in their adulthood, they're going to face disappointing times, and they're going to be able to draw off of these feelings and how to better cope and manage that, and be better leaders for their family. So it's always a somber Saturday morning after a loss, and that's just because of the commitment, the time, and the effort that these young people put into it. But there's also a lot of positivity too, and just, you know, the outlook is bright here. I mean, I think we're turning the corner. I think we're getting to the point where, you know, we're competitive, and now the next step is to get to the point where we're winning those games, and we're setting ourselves up for, you know, more on-field success. But definitely, you know, good spirits as you could be, and you know, you try to break it up with a little bit of laughs and you know, a lot of love. But This is a great group.
It is a great group, and we call a lot of underclassmen name, even though the Friday night was senior night, and we have 7 seniors that have been with you since freshman year. So really a growing number, because now coming through that sophomore class, it seems like you have 20 or 25 who have been there since last year and continue to grow. A lot of underclassmen on the field Friday night. Talk a little bit about who stood out to you, Coach, who really performed like you needed them to on Friday night.
Yeah, I think when you're talking underclassmen, I think one that shines real bright is Ramel Slaughter with the big reverse and the way he just accelerated, and he had some big time catches as well. And then what he's able to do defensively at corner, and then also Garrett McCurdy, man, he took that screen pass for a touchdown. He had a huge 70-yard run. Unfortunately, he got called back, but how exciting and explosive did he look on that play? And then all the work that he's doing at safety on defense, and just the way that he's down filling in the run game. And so, and then of course the staples that we've had: Riley Story making plays, Logan Control in the middle, and then we've had some young guys really have to step in an offensive line: Boston Stripling, Ethan Lane, and then of course the anchor over there on the left side, Chuffy Walden. So a lot of guys, a lot of young guys are really stepping up big, and they're putting themselves in a situation where they're playing in these tough games. And that's one thing we talked about on Saturday too, is the experience that those younger guys are gaining is what's going to catapult us for the success next year's campaign. And you hate to talk about next year so early, but that's just kind of the situation that we're in.
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit about that, in the sense that, Friday night, we win that game, we really are in a good spot to make the playoffs. Now we're tied for fourth with 2 other teams at 3-3 district wide. We are in front with points and some of the tiebreaker stuff, and those 2 teams are going to play each other. So one of them is going to come out with 4-3 records. So we go on the road this week to McAllister, who sits atop the district standings. Tell us what our chances are. Tell us how we can make the playoffs, or is it even possible?
It is possible, but we don't control our own destiny. We're going to need help from somebody else to force a three-way tie. The problem with the Bishop, Kelley, and Durant is we dropped both of those games. So if it's just a straight head-to-head with them, then they'll beat us out for that fourth spot. So we're going to need some help in some other areas to force a three-way tie to allow our district points to help us out. And that's the benefit of playing close games is when you lose, you don't lose your district.
Well, I've lost Coach Madonna in that playoff scenario. Really, Booker T is the one that we hold the card over, and they are sitting right now third in the district. They would have to lose their game in order to make it a three-way tie between either Durant, Kelley, Shawnee, and Booker T. And that would be if Shawnee goes and wins against McAllister. We will try to get Coach Madonna back, as here he is. Coach, I just went ahead and talked a little bit about it being Booker T is the other team. We're going to need help. Somebody's going to have to beat Booker T this week in order to create the three-way in fourth place. And I guess that would be third and fourth place at that point. And then points is what would be looked at. So let's look forward to McAllister. McAllister is one of those teams. They started off, I think, 0-4, and they have roared back with 5 straight district victories. Would I be correct?
That is correct. Yeah, that is. So they've really had an interesting season. They um, didn't start off very well and took some close losses, and then they had a couple games where they were able to really gain some confidence, and they've been playing really good football. They've been winning a lot of close games, and so they're going to come in confident, and they're going to come in looking to secure their playoff seeding, and it's going to be their senior night down there on Friday night. So we're going to look to come in and just play our brand of football, and we want to represent Shawnee the best way possible, the way that we've been trying to do that all season long, and nothing's going to change there. There's a lot of prideful young men in this group that just every time we step on the field, we want to play good football. And so that's what's going to happen this week. And we're going to go down and get a win and try to maintain over 500 on the year, or at 500 on the year. And so that's going to be the mission. That's going to be the focus all week. And, last year they came in and spoiled our senior night in a rain game. And so it's our opportunity to kind of repay that favor and go win a tough ball game on the road.
So from Friday night, what do we have to learn from, and we have to improve on in order to beat a very tough McAllister team?
Yeah, so the funny thing is, Bishop Kelley lined up to kick a walk-off game-winning field goal versus McAllister, and they missed it. And versus us, they made it. So we kind of
Wow.
look at it as, it's going to be a similar type ball game. We got to make those extra plays. Got to be a little cleaner. We have 2 touchdowns called back on tight, 50-50 judgment calls. And so we gotta make sure that we do enough that we don't put ourselves in a situation where somebody else controls the outcome of our game where we control it. And so we're gonna have to clean some of that stuff up. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to have some younger guys continue to step up as we have all season long. We had a couple guys that are going to be doing some really hard rehab to try to get back, but we lost a couple players throughout the course of that game. And so we don't know where that's going to be at. It's going to be game time on those young men, but regardless, the next guy's got to step up and get into the situation where they have an opportunity to make plays, and then we got to lean on our guys. We got to lean on our guys and in their last guaranteed football game in a Shawnee uniform, and let them go represent us the best way possible.
Another interesting victory that they had was just last week. McAllister going down to Durant, where we went down and we suffered what we thought was, a loss that we shouldn't have suffered in a game. We fully planned to win going in there, and McAllister comes out just a 22-21 victor, and that's a big shout out to how tough Durant is at home. But again, that's another one of those games that kind of show, wow, this is a game that's possible for the Wolves to win.
Absolutely. Durant was up 14-0, and then McAllister made their way back, and they ended up going into overtime. Durant scored, make it 21-14. McAllister scored, and then they went for two on a 2-point conversion, and they got it to win the football game. And so, and that's kind of been their recipe as they've navigated through district play, is they've kind of just won close ball games. And when you do that, it's kind of finicky, the psyche, right? So when you lose a close one, you got to win one to overcome it. And then when you win them, you just kind of feel like good luck's going to happen your way, and you get to go play. So it's time for us to go down there and reverse the fortune both ways, and us win a close one and let them know what that loss tastes like as they enter the postseason. But very, very, yeah. And it's more so about how much I like our football team. I think we have a good football team, and we didn't win the close ones this year. And those are lessons. We got to wear that. We got to take that on the chin, and we got to continue to grow from that. But this is a good football team that we have. A lot of people that play us, they recognize us. People are very complimentary of the effort and the ability of our guys. And now we got to put it together for 4 quarters and go win one on the road. But it's a very, very capable game. And I think I said before season, we had an opportunity to win every single game we played, and so far that's been true. Even the losses, we had opportunities with a 1-point loss at Ardmore, close game at Duncan, close game at Durant. Coweta, it's 14-17 late in the game. And so we've had those opportunities. We just haven't always capitalized on them. So now it's time to go do that.
It seems, Coach, that time of possession might be getting us a little bit, in the sense of our we've got a quick strike offense, which is a blessing and can be a curse. It seems that teams a lot of times are coming in and they're able to hold the ball a little bit longer than us. How do we work on that? I mean, it seems like we're outgaining people every week, but our defense is just on the field so much.
Yeah, we've kind of been, when we've been good on offense, we've been explosive.
Mhm.
When we haven't been good, we haven't been good enough to just generate those long drives. And it's kind of been a turn from last year. Last year we went on long drives and possessed the ball for a long time, and this year we're scoring a lot faster. And so some of that's a credit to just the caliber of explosive players that we have, but it's tough to, you just want to score when you get on offense. In a perfect world, you'd like to drive it down and go take 17 plays and 8 minutes off the clock and punch it in with a score, but we got an opportunity for big plays. Kids got to take it, and we just have to make sure that we get to keep the big plays that we have. Having 2 touchdowns called back in the game that ended up in a field goal game is just it's tough, man. It's tough to overcome, and whether we agree with the call or not, it doesn't matter because the flag was thrown and the penalty was assessed, and so we can't focus on that. We just got to focus on continuing to try to generate those and continue to put our players in the best position possible for them to make plays. But definitely tough pill to swallow. It's been a tough emotional weekend, but that's because we put so much into this that it's difficult when it doesn't go your way.
That's right, but that's the life lessons, isn't it? I mean, so often we remember the heartbreaks. We tend to forget, all of those high mountaintop moments. But there's just a lot of heartbreaks in life. So how do you talk to the kids about being able to just apply this towards life lessons and move forward?
Yeah, this is a microcosm of life, and that's why we do this. We're trying to develop young people to be successful as adults through the game of football, and that's why I'm here. That's why our staff is here. That's why, these teachers, administrators, and everybody that pours into these kids. That's the main objective. And so, we relate a lot of what we do to life. We plan, we prepare for success, and then we got to learn how to handle it when it doesn't happen and continue to go to work. Things are going to happen in life. They've happened to us as adults where things don't go as planned, but you still got to show up and you still got to be there for the people you love, and you can never get too emotionally high after a win. You can't get too emotionally low after a loss. We're teaching them how to be steady and consistent and trust their plan and focus on the positives and continue to grow the negatives, and that's what you have to do in life. Everybody watching this and the adults that have gone through this, you understand there's tough moments and you got to have something to grab onto and continue to show up. And so they're learning those lessons. And the best part about this job is you don't see the payoff for 10 years when they come back, when former players come back and their dads and their husbands and their successful business owners or their high level employees, and they tell you about their successes. That's the ultimate blessing in this game. So, these guys will learn these lessons. These seniors, they'll take this with them onto their next sport or onto their next venture, and they'll hopefully apply these lessons to their life to be successful.
It is. As adults, you got to show up, man. You got to just continue showing up and show love, and you gain that support from family. And I love it. Fiona pointed out at the last team meal during the prayer, as the guys feel like family in that room, and they really do try to lift one another up. And that's such a great lesson. And right now, the boys need lifting up. Coach, do your best to encourage all the adults to make the trip. It's a meaningful game down in McAllister. It's game 10 of this 2025 season. Give them a shout out and let's get some people down there.
Yeah, I think whether you watched it on ShawneeCTV or whether you came live, I think there's a lot of reasons to be proud of this football team. And so, what I would do if I was you, this is the last guaranteed opportunity to watch them, is I'd plan out a little road trip and take that drive and come down and cheer as loud as you can and send the season off on the right foot. With all the support, we've traveled well, and our fans have done an amazing job supporting us, and so I would say continue that and invite a friend. It's fall time. It's going to be a pretty drive down there once you hit the turnpike, and all the trees are changing colors in the leaves. So get the family out there and take the drive and come on down and support your Wolves one last time. And then hopefully, some luck goes our way and we'll get an opportunity for week 11. So right now we're just focused on week 10 and putting our best foot forward and then continuing the game. So hopefully you'll support us in that, and we'll see you Friday night down in McAllister.
That's beautiful, Coach. And it would be a lot of fun if you were able to make it down to McAllister. Just as Coach mentions, make it a family trip. How fun can that be? Because Shawnee, together, all of us, we are a family. Together, we build community one season at a time. Coach Jason Madonna, thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Thank you. Go Wolves.
Good night, everybody.
Benedict Street, Hardesty's Market and Deli is your go-to for all your local meat needs. It's also the perfect spot for lunch, offering your favorite local sandwiches, dips, sweets, and more. Support local. Stop by Hardesty's Market and Deli today.
Good throw gets Bertram. And that's smashed. Nothing new